I've held off doing reviews on this series as, while I'm generally pretty decent at reviewing games, I don't have the time to review newer games. No, I want to not so much do a review of a game per se, more of a review of a feature added into a game I adore so much. That game being Team Fortress 2. My real life friends know I'm crazy about this game, and for good reason. It's fun to play, has silly hats and cosmetics, spawned various memes, and it generally being a good game in the first place. Oh, and it's 10 years old soon. Yeah. It's about adding contracts into TF2. For those who don't know, the contract system actually came about from Counter-Strike Global Offensive in the form of a trade-up contract. That's not the one I'm about to talk about though Team Fortress 2 does have a trade-up contract in place for the reason I'll explain about in a minute. The way TF2 contracts work are vastly different. Generally speaking, you pay to get the contracts in the first place via an update pass, normally £3.99, and for a period of the update season you get an update coin / stamp / doodad thing, and you get regular tasks to do that are within those contracts. Each task gives you a sum total of 130 CP to obtain while playing. Get to 100 and you can turn in the contract. Get the extra bonus 30 CP for the chance to level up your coin doodad thing. 1000 CP equals bronze, 2000 CP equals silver, all the way up to 3000 points where it turned gold. After you completed each contract, you either get a skinned version of one of the default weapons found in game, very much like when you uncrate a CSGO case and you get skins, or you get a case drop, which are annoying, but you know, it's TF2, it's a free to play. Don't complain. Unlike the skins from Payday 2 though, the skins are purely cosmetic, and much like the Counter-Strike counterparts, they come in qualities as well as grades. The qualities go from battle scarred all the way through to factory new, whereas the grades go from civilian all the way to elite grade. Higher the grade and higher the quality, the better it looks, and the more it's worth on the Steam community market. The latest update, Tough Break, added the Festivizer into the mix, which allowed users to festivize the weapons, a common request by fans for a while now, which adds LEDs to the weapons essentially, and again it's purely cosmetic and makes the weapon worth a lot more if you decide to sell them on. Back to the contracts. Once you've signed up, you'll get treated to almost daily tasks to do. The tasks in question, however, do have a few caveats. There are 3 types of a contract you can receive, and those caveats are as follows. Specific map contracts. Clue's kind of in the name, but essentially you can only complete a contract by doing it on a specific map. If the contract is called High Pass, then you are tied to King of the Hill High Pass. If it says Borneo, then you're stuck with Payload Borneo. Specific objective contracts. Much like the first, but you can only complete a contract on a specific game mode. Have a payload contract, go on to any of the payload maps. Lucky enough to get a Capture the Flag contract? You guessed it, go to 2 Fort. Specific class and weapon combo contracts. Unlike the other 2 types of contracts, you're not limited to playing on a specific map or game mode. Instead, you have to play as one of the specific classes found within the game, do specific tasks related to your class and with the specified weapons detailed on your contract, and then turn it in. The Spy, for example, will get 5 CP for a backstab after decloaking using the Dead Ringer on the Dead Ringer contract, and 1 CP for scoring points. Pro tip, you gain 1 CP for pushing a payload cart for around 5 seconds on these kind of contracts, just letting you all know. It'll come in handy. If you earn 10 or more skins by completing contracts, then assuming they're the same grade, you can use previously mentioned trade-up contract. Not a contract in the traditional sense, more an option to get a newer skinned weapon, with a higher grade than any of the ones you've submitted. If I were to get rid of the 10 factory new civilian grade Autumn Leaf rocket launchers, I would get the freelance grade Autumn Leaf rocket launcher. If you submit 10 of the same weapon of the same quality, like I just did in this metaphorical situation I just outlined, then the quality will stay the same. Deviating from this will open up a whole myriad of outcomes. The weapon you might be of different quality, it might be of an incredibly high grade, but it'll always be selected from the pool of the weapons you've just submitted. Overall, I think this is a fantastic idea, as it's the perfect incentive for those who want to get better at the game. Do a thing, you get a nice thing in return. Not only does that give motivation for players to actually learn the game, but it teaches the player about how to play the map or class effectively, where all the flank routes are on upward, or how to use the dreaded Euroterra reward properly. Without sounding too much like extra credits, it's also a good way for Valve to exploit the way people learn the game, and obviously for people to get better at the game. When contracts were introduced in the Gunmetal update last July, I'd never really played as the demo man too much. I knew the basics: shoot a grenade, target goes boom. As soon as I got a demo man contract for the very first time, I learned how to use the class effectively, how to be a demo knight, how to use the Iron Bomber. You get the idea. This way of learning, it does legitimately work, which is probably why Valve added it into the game in the first place. By exploiting this learning curve that me and others have been following, they can get more competent people to buy into the currently unreleased matchmaking that's coming to TF2, a huge request by many players in the community that spans back several years. More competent players means a better experience for everyone involved. Having newbies playing on the matchmaking servers is, unlike popular opinion states, worse than having overly skilled players. Beating a noob only gets fun like the first 3 times, then it gets boring. With skilled players, there's an element of challenge involved in beating them on the scoreboard, and yes, more often than not, you will get beaten. But, you know, that's kind of what the game's about. It also gives the game a new lease of life by shaking up the gameplay and forcing you to play as classes you'd never normally play, like me with the Demo Man. I'm a fantastic Demo Knight now, all thanks to the contract system. And yes, you have to pay to get in, most of the time anyway, but the money you paid in getting in goes to the map makers, taunt creators, etc. It's a win-win-win situation for Valve, the community map makers, item and taunt makers, and of course, the players. That, in my opinion, is worth the £3.99. And the audio files from Miss Pauling, just saying. So yeah, that's all about contracts and its ultimate purpose in life. I hope you lot found it interesting and learned at least something from this. As usual, I thank you very much for listening. I sounded too happy, didn't I?